Hello, everyone. Today I am going to be presenting a presentation over differentiation and engagement. My, my name is Linda Washington, and I am a third grade teacher. I teach in the Atlanta Public School Systems in Atlanta, Georgia. This is my second year of teaching. I've been teaching for about 4 years, but this is my second year teaching on my own. I have an Associate of Science in Early Childhood Education, as well as a bachelor's in elementary education. I'm currently in programming for my master's in curriculum and instruction. So, first, let's start off with talking about what is differentiation. When we think about differentiation is just where we are tailoring our students' instruction based off of their specific needs. So, this is us continuously evaluating students' learning and seeing if we have to group them differently or if we have to give them different strategies or tools to use to support their learning, as well as differentiation is not just that one strategy that teachers use to just manipulate the students' strategies in the classroom. Teachers can use differentiation for all students. If students are gifted learners who normally get that advanced learning, if students are English language learners, as well as if students are just struggling learners who receive just that basic work. Now, when I think of differentiation in the schooling that I am teaching at, we use a platform called System 44 slash MyPath. This program helps students learning gets excuse me help tailor students learning by taking whatever their rationale and score from state testing, and it puts them in an area if they're in third grade and they scored a second grade level, they're going to give them second grade level content within these platforms, but it's going to help them move their way up to the third grade platform. And these platforms here normally modify those students' assignments just to help them get where they need to be within their learning pace. Now, another thing that I also use within my classroom in my school is we use Think, Pair, Share. And this here is just where our students, they're collaborating more if they're in groups or if they're in partners with assignments. And it just helps them analyze and respond better to questions that are being posed to them that they have to read. And normally with the Think, Pair, Share, it gets students to also be engaged more, which we will get into just a little bit about engagement. But when we think about differentiation and we think about Think, Pair, Share, this gives it more student talk and less teacher talking. Now, some strategies that are very useful when we use differentiation um, for brain based learning is movement. Just getting the students to move around the classroom when you're doing certain activities. And it's even if they have to move to sit in different seating within the classroom, as well as open-ended activities or open-ended questions, which gives students to just think more so out the box and not just that narrow, straight answer that you may think they may know or you know that they may say, as well as project-based learning. So getting all of the other subject areas and putting into one project base and connecting it also to real world. Another thing can be groups, just the way that you're grouping students. If it's small groups, if you're going to group students based off of the students' data, if you're going to group them based off of their learning styles and etc., as well as teacher time. Teacher time is that one-on-one time, so that's another flexible grouping that you could use as well. And a last one will be technology. When you differentiate your instruction, technology is a great tool to use. You can use it when you want students to respond to a question individually and then just show everyone answers on the screen. And a good tool maybe sometimes is Nearpod. Flipgrid is a very great differentiation tool to use when you're wanting students to pretty much take part of their own learning. Okay. Next let's fully get into engagement. Now when we think about engagement is just where the students level of participation and entrance comes involved, and just what is being taught or learned in that general perspective in the classroom. And when we think about engagement as educators, we have to think when we're planning our lessons, how can we make it engaging for students? How can we connect the real world with it to make it engaging for students? Because a lot comes with engagement with students. It comes with cognitive as well as emotional abilities of their brain. And students have to use a lot of capacities of their brain in order to be engaged within learning. Now, some engagement for brain based learning in a professional setting is making sure that you have a positive learning environment. So, this comes with building a classroom community. This comes with making sure that behavior is upon your expectations when needed within the classroom. Another thing may be teaching mindfulness and stress reduction. Having a calm corner in your classroom is a really great thing to have when it comes to engagement in your classroom, because not just with engagement but just in general within the classroom, learning gets hard for students. They're using their brain at least for 7 hours a day. So having a place within the classroom where students can just go and sit for probably like 5 to 10 minutes to just sit and relax for a while, when it's not able to be done as a whole group, is very useful for students because the learning can become overwhelming. Now, some strategies that you may want to use when you're trying to enhance engagement in the brain based learning is having morning meetings. So it's a great starter for the day. Having students do greetings, giving compliments to other students, expressing their emotions on how they feel within the beginning of the day, and maybe you want to do little small daily check ins within the day as well. Another thing could be stretching. Students can stretch behind their desks or they can do floor yoga. I know sometimes with my students, I'll tell my students, all right, all eyes on me, everyone let's stretch on one, two, three. And that's when my students are like, yes, we can finally get up out of our seats because we've been sitting down for so long. That's why movement is very important within the classroom, when you are teaching students within learning. And the movement allows students to just walk around or just stand up for a while and get a break from where they're sitting at their desk all day. Another thing could be having a brain break. Brain break can be used from pre-K all the way up to 12th grade. Brain breaks can consist of probably like dance parties. You can use a platform called Go Noodle, or you can use YouTube. And you don't have to use those. You don't have to do dance party for brain breaks. For brain breaks, it could just be playing some calming music and students just resting their heads for a few minutes. It could just be students, like I say, they can go back to that stretching technique. um Brain breaks is just a time for not only the students but the teachers to just take a break from the learning overall. Another thing could be that in grades, third grade and higher, students could normally, for the first 20 to 30 minutes, depending on your timing of your classes, they can do their assignments. And then after that, they can take a brain break once they complete their assignments. And I utilize that all the time because my students, they're just like, I know I need a break sometimes, but when you're taking your breaks to give students' brains a rest, you have to make sure that you're utilizing your time effectively as well. And then the last thing that I had was just turn and talks. I use turn and talks a lot. And turn and talks are really great strategies to use for when you want students to be engaged because it's less teacher talk and more student talk. It gets students to collaborate with each other and for the teacher to evaluate the students to see what they understand from the learning that was being taught of them. And And these are my references based off of my presentation today. And I hope you all enjoyed the presentation and I hope you have a good one. Thank you.